Hi there, this is Jen Kitzmiller with the National Weather Service in Missoula, and I have your planning briefing recorded on Sunday, April 30th. So a few of the highlights: we're going to continue to see hot and dry conditions through Thursday. We are going to see increasing chances of thunderstorms beginning on Monday and going through Thursday. Some of those thunderstorms will have the potential for gusty winds, locally heavy rain, and possibly even some small hail. And then as we get towards late in the week into next weekend, we do expect to see a little bit of a shift in the weather pattern with some growing potential of a significant precipitation event, especially through north central Idaho. So if that was to occur, we'd have some further concerns about possible flooding on area rivers and streams. Here's a weather risk outlook. The main thing being highlighted here is that threat for thunderstorms, which starts on Monday and really expands all the way through Friday. We've also started to highlight the potential of some of that heavy rain towards Friday in north central Idaho. Looking at the satellite loop, high pressure is still firmly in place here over much of the west. However, I'll draw your attention to this low pressure center. This is the feature that we're expecting to gradually dig southward and set up along the California coastline, which will influence our weather for most of next week. So looking at the upper level pattern for Monday through Thursday, we've got that ridge of high pressure kind of centered on central Montana, and on either side we've got these strong low pressure systems. And this low pressure system, as it digs south off the coast of Canada, while we'll keep the warm conditions over us here in western Montana and north central Idaho, we'll also be seeing some little spokes of energy and moisture breaking off this low and moving to the north into the region. So with that, we are expecting to see some increased chances of afternoon and evening thunderstorms virtually every afternoon and evening, with the main threats being gusty and erratic winds, small hail, and locally heavy rain. One other thing to note: between this high to low pressure, we will see a somewhat abnormal southeast to east wind gradient. Nothing overly strong, but gusts 15 to 20 miles per hour will not be out of the question from the east to southeast. So looking at high temperatures for Monday and Tuesday, you'll see, especially across western Montana, we're looking at valleys sitting in the mid to potentially even upper 80s in a few spots, which will be near some daily records for a few areas such as Missoula and Kalispell. Further to the west, across north central Idaho, it's still going to be pretty warm. However, we are expecting a little bit of a cool down on Monday, and that's due to the increasing showers and thunderstorms that'll bring in cloud cover and such. Looking at low temperatures, it is also going to be notably warm overnight. A lot of valleys will only cool into the upper 40s to low 50s. So that's going to continue that snow melt out of the terrain and further contribute to those rising rivers and streams. For any folks out there looking at doing prescribed burning, here's just a look at relative humidities the next couple of days. The humidities here on the left may be a smidge high. There's still going to be potential to see some valleys, especially in western Montana, drop off into the mid to upper teens, though some of that's going to depend on cloud cover. But the main trend as we go towards Tuesday and especially into the middle of the week is that we will start seeing increasing amounts of moisture, and so we likely won't see our humidities dropping quite as low, which you can see by Tuesday they've increased at least a few percentage points. So that'll be the trend going through the week. Looking at thunderstorm probabilities, here on the left is Monday, then Tuesday, Wednesday. Currently Tuesday stands out as the day with the more widespread potential for thunderstorms, basically covering all of north central Idaho through Missoula into southwest Montana, with about a 30 to 40% chance of seeing thunderstorms. However, even on Monday afternoon and evening, you'll see this little corridor here of higher probabilities through north central Idaho and up along the Idaho western Montana border here. So that's really going to be kind of an ongoing threat here through much of this week. Again, as I mentioned, locally heavy rain, gusty winds, and small hail will all be possible with these thunderstorms. So we've already talked about this a bit, but with those warm temperatures, we are expecting to continue to see significant rises on streams and rivers. Right now, just based on the snowmelt portion of the forecast alone, river flooding is overall a low probability, about a 5 to 10% chance at any given point. Other than at the Clark Fork River above Missoula, where the probabilities of reaching minor flood stage have continued to increase towards the end of next week. For anyone recreating, keep in mind that the rivers will be running fast and cold, so even though it's warm outside, anyone in the water would potentially have a hypothermia risk, so just something to keep in mind. Now, I mentioned a pattern change as we get towards Friday and into the weekend. There's growing confidence that that low pressure system off California will eject northward and end up somewhere in southern Idaho. And so that's going to cool temperatures down at least closer to seasonable normals by next weekend. But also it brings in the potential for a significant rainfall event. At this point, only about 25% of our models are showing a significant precipitation event of half an inch or more. However, this is the kind of pattern that could definitely bring some heavier rainfall to the region, especially if that low shifts a little further north. So something we're keeping an eye on, particularly for river flooding. Here is just two graphics showing the probabilities of different rainfall thresholds. The graphic on the left is showing the probability of a 1/10 of an inch or more May 5th through 7th. And you'll see virtually the entire region has a 60 to 80% chance of seeing at least a wetting rain by this weekend. Now, as we get into the more significant amounts, this graphic is showing a 1/2 inch or more, and you'll see it becomes more focused through north central Idaho and along the Continental Divide in northwest Montana, where we're looking at about a 40 to 60% chance of those areas seeing a 1/2 inch of rain or more. So something we're going to continue to watch, particularly in terms of our rivers. At this point, I'm going to just step through a couple rivers that are seeing some rises. The Yaak River here at Troy is expected to approach bank full by Saturday next weekend. This doesn't account for a lot of precipitation, so if those precipitation amounts were to trend higher, it's possible this could be pushed a little closer towards minor flooding. The Clark Fork River above Missoula, the chance of hitting minor flood stage has increased quite a bit for probably late Friday night into Saturday morning. Again, this doesn't factor in a lot of precipitation, but currently the way the forecast models are showing, it's a low probability that the Clark Fork River Basin would have significant precipitation at this time. However, that is something we'll need to keep an eye on because it could potentially notch these levels even higher if we were to get some significant rainfall next weekend. And then the Bitterroot River at Bell Crossing, again, currently not showing any flooding potential, but approaching bank full by next weekend. So that's all I have. The next briefing will be on Thursday, May 4th. In the meantime, feel free to give us a call if you have any other questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Have a great day.